Hello, good people. Welcome back once again to our series on Matplotlib. And in this video, we're going to take a look at how we can customize the axis of our plots. Okay, so from the previous examples that we did, you can see that the x-axis goes all the way from 0 to a little above 9. So I would say maybe 9.3, 9.4, 9.5. And then the y-axis goes from 0 to somewhere 9. Okay. Now the question is, how does it decide how does Matplotlib decide the extent to which the axis should be labeled? And as you can guess, or as you may have guessed, you can see that it takes the minimum and the maximum values out of the data set to determine how to label the axis. So if you look at the x-axis, you can see that it is ranging from 0 to somewhere above 9 because the minimum value in the x values is 1 and the maximum is 9. And you can also see that it has a similar thing for the y values because it ranges from 0 to 9 once again. So you can see that on the y-axis it automatically labels from 0 to somewhere close to 9. It's actually 9 because this point right here I think links to the 9 points on the y-axis. Okay, the question is, how do you control it if you want to take charge of how the axes are labeled? How do you do that? And the good thing is that Matplotlib allows you to control the extent to which the axes are labeled, or the range that is used on the axis. So I'm going to use this same data set that I have over here. They're already created, but I'm going to recreate them down here. Whoa, sorry, I didn't copy it correctly. So this, I'm going to copy. Whoa. And then I'm going to paste here. Okay, so I'm using the same data set, but then what's going to happen is I will call plt.axis, and then I'm going to specify 4 numbers. Okay, and then I will explain to you what these 4 numbers do. So I'm going to go all the way from -10 to +10, and then I will also go from -10 to +10, and then once I am done, I'll say plt.show. Okay, so in the first graphs that I showed you, I didn't call plt.show because, like I told you, once you plot something in Jupyter Notebook, because of the Matplotlib inline thing that we placed here, it is going to render automatically. But when you want to customize the graph before showing, then you have to manually call .show, because after plotting I wanted to change the axis, so I needed to specify the range for both the x and the y axis before I call the .show on it. So if you look at it here, you can see that now the x and y axis have been labeled from -10 to +10, and because I specified -10 and then up to +10 for both x and y axis. So the first one is for the x, and then the next one is for the y values. So let's go ahead and then modify this so that it looks a bit better. Okay, so we know the minimum in our data set is 1 and the maximum is 9 for both x and y. So why don't we just go from 0 to, let's say, 12. It's just to give the graph some breathing space so that it's not too close to the x and y planes. Okay, so I'll go for 0 to 12 and 0 to 12, and then you see that now it is much more cleaner, and it didn't have to label the negative aspect of our graph because inside our data set there is no negative value in there. So just in case you ever have the need, which you will most of the time, to take charge of the extent to which your axes are labeled, then always remember that you can call plt.axis, and then you specify 4 numbers, the first 2 for the x-axis and the last 2 for the y-axis. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.